Janki-ji, you're muted.
Navavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we had been studying about the division, the analysis of the different constituents of action under the three gunas. So we have finished knowledge, we have finished action, and now we will do the actor. Isn't that right? Do actor. So who will read?
I will.
Please do.
Janki-ji, before going to actor, I have a doubt in the action. Can I ask? Last time we have discussed that Tamasic action is one where there is no thoughtfulness to the consequences. So when we come across people who are ending up in indulging in tamasic action and seeing the impact of that on the family and people around them, is there anything we should do? Because we have been discussing it is a matter of choice each individual has to make. So when we see them around us and seeing the impact it has on the children or spouse or parents or relatives, what do we do?
How can one answer that? Depends, no, on what is that action and how you can do something and whether you can do something. Basically, you have to see what the situation is. See what the situation is. Is there anything that can be done? The one thing that should not be done, I can tell you. The one thing that should not be done is repeatedly tell the person do something he's not doing, because at least basic common sense should tell us that that doesn't work. So if you have anything, many times people themselves don't know what to do. They are so lost. And they need more our sympathy than our constant nagging that, you're so bad, you should have done this. This negative stress that we keep giving people, we should try to avoid. It's better to encourage what they are doing than discourage something which you don't want them to do. So I can't give obviously a specific answer because one needs to know the specific situation, but broad principles are this: don't tell other people what to do. If you have any constructive suggestion, you may offer it to them once or twice, no more than that. If you have any other method by which you could be supportive of them, encourage whatever it is they want to do, then maybe you could try that. And remember at all times that it's none of your business. It is possible that somebody's husband is, I'm making up stories because I don't know what the real situation is. Somebody's husband is not working and, he's a bad influence on the children and there's no finances coming into the family. And what will the wife do under these conditions? She will grumble to him, she'll grumble to the whole world, she'll go on grumbling, and probably make the situation worse. So better if she figures out, if I need finances, how am I supposed to get them? If I want him to do something, then in what way and in which field could I encourage him? How can I prevent my children from being influenced by this behavior? I have to apply my intellect to this. I can't just I'm feeling upset, so I'm throwing a fit. That never works. So avoid doing those type of things. Avoid giving people negative stress, especially if they themselves are in a bad situation. Like if they are an alcoholic and they can't work or whatever. Sometimes people are just very, very tamasic. They're so tamasic that they themselves are incapable of doing anything about it. So if you have some constructive thing, offer. Otherwise, be charitable.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't know whether everybody is just forced to say thank you because or kya bolenge, but
really not in that sense. Invariably, we see them and we are helpless seeing the damage they are creating. So I was just wondering, constructive suggestions didn't work, obviously. It was taken as intrusion into their right to do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So I was just wondering whether anything else is possible from our side, because we are seeing the children.
Total acceptance.
Yeah, right.
That's the only thing. It's the only thing that will actually work. Works means it's not like you accept him and next day he'll start working. Not like that. But in India and in many places across the globe, we tend to give people too much negative stress. Doesn't help.
Typically, a tamasic action has to come out on their own out of that loop they are in.
We can help them, but the methods we usually employ don't work. You have to give tamas means it will all be extremely slow. So even if you're helping the person, he's not asked you for help. But even if you wish to help, you will have to have a mental time frame of like, I think it will take me at least 3-4 years before I can move this person. Your mental time, it's the mental time frames that we give. Like somebody's an alcoholic and we tell him, you must stop drinking. Here's a constructive suggestion for you to stop drinking. And then you think that he will employ it and the next day he'll be okay. It doesn't work like that. Even if you give a constructive suggestion, see how it works with us. No? We are all human beings and the same laws of it. Suppose you want to do something. In this class, I can probably give the example of getting up in the morning and studying. I'm sure most of you want to do it. However, very few will be doing, even though you want to do it. Why? And how long will it take to do that conversion? It takes time. Everything takes time. So we remember that.
But ma'am, here we are seeing the damage being done to the children, or damage being, the impact.
For what? Stop repeating that. You've already said it, right? Why are you repeating? We already know that.
The difference is that not getting up in the morning versus the Tamasic person's actions, there is a difference.
Okay, here's where your mistake lies, Shanti. It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's exactly the same thing. Us not getting up in the morning and studying is the same tamas. What's the difference?
But how does that impact others around us, ma'am?
You can't help this tamasic person. You can't help the children who are be suffering because of this.
Of that, okay.
Yeah, you're not able to do, no? As long as we don't apply ourselves to the knowledge, how are we going to be able to execute whatever help we want to give others? It's exactly the same thing. It's such a good point you're bringing up. Insofar as at least it's open to discussion, that we think that he's an alcoholic and he's influencing other people by doing this. I'm influencing other people by not studying in the morning too. It's exactly the same. The difference, any conversion, you think of it as a car. A car is going full speed in some direction. Okay, either you're being Rajasic or you're being Tamasic, whatever, you're going full speed in some direction. Now you want to change that direction. It's not easy. Not for us, not for anyone else.
In the true sense, irrespective of the state, not doing what that state is supposed to do is having the impact on people around us. Is that so?
And on ourselves.
On us.
On ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Janki-ji?
Yes, go ahead.
While on the subject of morning studies, now it is already 81 days are over when the group was started. And now that, there is a review, because 90 days is the time frame we had given for this morning study group. Around 10 to 12 people are posting in the group. I think more numbers would be welcome. Although Bharatji circulated among, I think, all the groups, I think all the 3-4 groups, the number of people who joined around 35 or so, and now it is the people who are actively doing the studies around 12, 13 or something like that. Anything could be done to improve this morning show, because when you are saying that it is as good as Tamasic, it is startling, it's a startling development or a startling revelation.
Yeah, well, it is everything we don't do. So, but first thing is, this is not the context. Just because we spoke about morning study doesn't mean now we'll talk about that as well. So we have to stay in our flow of thought. We can talk about that separately. Now, after the class, we can maybe discuss about all those who want to remind me after the class, and we will talk about that again. But now let's go back to Sattvic actor. What does a Sattvic actor do? Anybody has any other question pertaining to what we have studied so far? Anybody is new in the class today?
Haribol, I am.
Tanvita. First time, Tanvita?
I used to come to your classes at Jamnabai school many years back. But then you shifted to Santa Cruz, I think. So then I lost touch.
Okay.
Someone else introduced me some few days back. So I asked him to send me the link.
Okay, great. So anyway, you're not new insofar as I'm assuming you know Tamas Rajas Sattva, right?
Yeah.
No?
I do.
You do, okay. So I'll do a brief revision. Anyone else is new?
Yes, ma'am. Suresh Mathur.
Okay. First time, Suresh?
Yes.
First time to any Vedanta or
No,
first time
no. First time to this class.
to this class? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so we are currently studying a portion from the Bhagavad Gita, which talks about how Tamas, Rajas, Sattva are playing in our life constantly. Tamas is the lowest state of indolence, inactivity, ignorance. Rajas is the state of action, when you don't do anything, or you do things that are tamasic. Tamasic in the sense they are out of ignorance or out of laziness. So you take shortcuts. All of that is tamas. Then you come to the state of action. You're interested in action. You do action, but that action is always accompanied by lots of stress. Even suppose somebody around you is not doing something they should be doing. So one attitude can be, I don't care, usko karne do jo karna hai. The other attitude, which is most common, especially among spouses and family members, is I'm very interested in what you do. So I agitate myself, I agitate you, and I drive everybody generally nuts. And I do not achieve anything. This is the state of Rajas, where it is the actions are done, but they cause agitation. And they are always less effective than the person is capable of being. And sattva is the state of transaction. Transaction means that you can identify the right action and perform it. So this kind of way of living is an absolutely stress-free way of living. Because the moment you engage your intellect, you're freed of stress. Stress is nothing but the mind taking off. This is not believed by anybody. Everybody thinks I'm stressed because of X, Y, and Z. It's the simplest idea. It's the simplest idea that it's impossible for you to be stressed unless you're functioning on the mind. It's just not possible. The simplest thing, right? And yet nobody will buy it. And the biggest problem with nobody buying into this idea is what? What's the biggest problem? Nobody believes.
Everybody is like this.
Sorry?
Everyone is on the same way they are doing. Most of the people.
Yeah, that is true. But what is the biggest problem?
We are complacent. We are complacent. We are complacent with whatever we have.
Okay. What's the biggest problem? You're not wrong. What's the biggest problem?
Causing more problem.
We don't want to take the
and
blame.
stress.
We don't want to change. We don't want to change.
Okay, we don't want to change.
We don't want to take the blame.
We don't want to take the blame. Okay. What's
We
the
are
biggest problem?
We are
You're not
Tamasic.
used to
We are Tamasic.
Okay, that is, I mean, all of it is true, but what's the biggest problem?
We are suffering.
We suffered, yes, of course. What's the biggest problem?
We don't think it's possible.
Janki ji,
Yes, Milan.
we are not aware that we are deluded.
We are not aware that
We are deluded.
we are deluded, correct. Jyoti,
We don't believe it's possible.
we don't believe it's possible. Okay, Karan.
Result oriented. We are result oriented.
Okay.
All the time anxious.
Okay. What's the biggest problem? I mean, no, you're not wrong, but what is the biggest problem?
You want immediate gratification, ma'am?
Okay.
Is it that we are sure that correcting things outside will solve the problem?
Yes, so correct, but so therefore, what is the problem?
We never turn inwards.
Yes, so what is the problem?
We don't use our intellect to
Yes, that is true. But what is the biggest problem? That we don't buy this idea that the only reason I can have stress, there is no other reason. There's only one reason I can have stress, and that's because I'm functioning on my mind. There's no other reason. We will never buy into this idea. And if we don't buy into the idea, the biggest problem is every cure you try to do to your stress will not work because you have not identified the cause. There is a, there's a story about a man whose yacht was not working. And his yacht was not working, so he called an expert. He tried his best to fix whatever he could, and then he called an expert. And then the expert came and he looked at it, and then he modified one hathoda on it. And then the yacht was working fine. And then the expert sent a bill of $1,000. So this guy got very upset. Arey, all you did was hit one hathoda. So why $1,000? He wrote to the expert. So the expert sent another bill. He said, hitting the hammer, $1. Knowing where to hit the hammer, $999. Total $1,000. So you can't just go take your hammer and start beating up the yacht. You'll break the yacht, but you will not solve the problem. So similarly, if you are not clear where is this problem being generated from, you will keep on making so many attempts, but the problem will not go, which you will see in your own life. Everything you do, it will improve something, and then something else will happen, and then you do all sorts of things, really. But we don't follow what Tyagaraja said, Chakkani Raja. There is a royal path. They've already told you what is causing the suffering and what will help you. But no, we won't try that one. We will try every other one first. Then no, it's my mother-in-law. I need to live in a different house. Then only I'm going to be happy. No, it's my boss. I need to change my job. Only then my stress will go away. Oh no, it is my ill health. When my ill health goes away, I will be fine. Don't we all feel like that? Don't we all feel that, oh, if this problem gets solved, boy, I'm all right. How many problems we have solved and how much has our stress gone? So let us understand one important thing about Rajas is in the state of Rajas, what happens is we are functioning on the mind a lot, and the consequences are a lot of stress. But in Sattva, you're functioning on the intellect, and therefore you're not a stressed person, no matter what the external situations are. So tamas is the state of ignorance, inertia, indolence, you're not doing anything, and you're largely not stressed because usme padte hi nahi. Okay, so you're basically not worked up because you're not doing anything. But Rajasic people, they have desires and aims and ambitions, and they want to do a lot, and want to achieve a lot, and they want this to be and that to be. I don't mean just like you've gone to the corporate world, and even at home. I want my child to do this, I want my husband to do this, I want the staff to do this, I want to buy this, I want my house to look so pretty. It could be home, it could be office, could be anything. But whatever you touch creates stress. That's the state of Rajas. A lot of activity and a lot of stress. And in Sattva, intellect-led activity. That's why it's called trans-active, because it's not the running around. It is the wisdom to know what to do and the capacity to execute it. That's the state of sattva. So no matter how much that person does, that person never gets stressed. It is high efficiency without the heart attack that goes with it. So these are the three states. Now, what are these three people doing in terms of being an actor is what we are about to study. How does the Sattvic person act? How does the Rajasic person act? And how does the Tamasic person act? So who had volunteered to read? So this is only a background, Sangeeta and Suresh. This is a background of the three gunas. So because now we are going to do the different actors and how they function and the consequence of their function. You both are clear on this, right? Yeah, Tanvita. Suresh, I can't see you, so you have to do something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. Everybody's okay up to this point. You've heard Tamas Rajas Sattva a lot, and the reason you hear a lot of it is because it is really important. It is a great way of explaining what it is he's really trying to tell us. Okay, so Usha, were you going to read?
Yes. Sattvic actor is not egoistic, does not have the I am the doer attitude, and is free from attachment, with no preferential relationship binding him to the world. Besides, a Sattvic actor possesses steadfastness, dridhi, and enthusiasm, utsaha. He is energetic, cheerful, and joyful in what he does, and does it with consistency of purpose until the work is done. All along his course of activity, he remains disinterested in the result thereof. Success or failure means nothing to him. He maintains a balance of mind through the fluctuations of life's experiences. The summary: Sattvic actor is selfless, free from worldly attachments, steadfast, enthusiastic, balanced in thought when handling life's experiences, resolute in completing responsibilities until the work is completed, and has no self-interest in outcomes. Consequently, a Sattvic actor is free-flowing and manages life effortlessly.
Okay, good. So, oops, what happened here? All okay, right? Yes, so first characteristic is the actor is not egoistic. In his life, he doesn't see things from his personal point of view. Sounds amazing. How can a person not see life from his own point of view? How is that even possible? How it is possible is, can anyone tell me how is this possible?
Focusing on the action and on the goal or on the ideal, not on the person.
Very.
I is always the last.
Yes. The focus is always on what are you trying to achieve? Why are you even doing this action? What's the point of it? Okay. And being entirely focused on what it is that you expect your action to do. And if you're focused on that, it forces the question.
How best it can be accomplished with maximum efficiency.
Yes, it forces the question, what should I do? Have you ever noticed that we don't ask this question, what should I do? We begin with, I am doing this. Okay, so I'm irritated with you. So what am I going to do? I'm shouting. But why am I shouting? I don't ask that question. And because I'm not focused on what I want to do, usually whatever I want to do makes the more difficult to do that thing. Because you never ask the question, what should I do? So we all think of ego as, oh, it's such a spiritual thing. Spiritual people are not egoistic. First thing we have to learn, Suresh, since you're coming to this class for the first time, at least you take cognizance of this. Everybody else has probably got immune to my repetition, but at least you take cognizance. Spirituality is not something we do as a hobby. Okay, I'm living my life and I also have spirituality in my life. That's not spirituality. Spirituality is the attitude with which I live my life. It's a big difference in that understanding. Spirituality is not Panch Bar Namaz every Thursday, every Tuesday I go to Siddhi Vinayak. Tuesday, no? Siddhi Vinayak? No, Saturday. Tuesday. Okay. Tuesday I go. That's not spirituality. Spirituality is the attitude with which I live my life. It is how I live my life. It is not what I do in my life, but it is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And when you understand this fundamental thing, then spirituality gives you some results in life. Otherwise, it is that, oh, I went to God, maine itna pray kiya, fir bhi mujhe nahi mila. God is so good if I get it, and God is so bad if I don't get it. But please, at any state, there's a 50% chance of you getting it or not getting it. So what has God got to do with it? You please distinguish between your work and God. God's grace is permanent and eternal. Your work is in fits and starts. Because your work is in fits and starts, your results will be in fits and starts. So how do you make your work consistent?
Having a goal.
Yes, correct. By bringing the right attitude to life, which is your spiritual education. Spiritual education only is learning the right attitude in life. So what is the right attitude? It is not egoistic. What do you mean it is not egoistic? It means the focus is not upon myself. So how can it be? Everybody will focus on themselves and do things. No, those people who have something to aspire for, something bigger and larger and greater to do, their focus is not on themselves. So the Sattvic actor always has something wider, larger, bigger, more important to think about than one individual. So firstly, he's not egoistic. Secondly, he's free of attachment. So what is the attachment? The attachment is always to what I feel like doing or I don't feel like doing. Instead of doing what needs to be done, we have preferences. I would like to do this and I would not like to. Now here's a little bit of catch in this. It's not a catch, it's just the right understanding of it. That we will all have preferences in our work is a given. Okay? That is a given, everybody will have. You cannot avoid it. You cannot avoid it because A, it is the nature of the mind. Okay. And B, you cannot avoid it because it is the nature of these equipment. This equipment is devised in a particular way. Suppose you tell this equipment, go and play cricket. It will do a bad job of it because it's not designed to play cricket. If you tell Amitabh Bachchan to become a miner, for instance, he may be a bad miner because his equipment is not designed for it. So every equipment is designed in a particular way. Like a washing machine washes clothes, a mixer mixes food. You can't interchange like that. A sparrow is a sparrow, an eagle is an eagle, a pigeon is a pigeon, a lion is a lion, a deer is a deer, an oak tree is an oak tree, a butterfly is a butterfly. Every equipment is designed in a particular way. They will do that thing. There's no option here. So when you say non-attached to action, doesn't mean that you're going to do any action which you're not capable of doing. If you do action which you're not capable of doing, this kind of action is
Tamasic.
very good. This is tamasic. This is not your capacity, not your ability. Kyun kar rahe ho, bhai? Okay, some people are designed to be doctors. They should be doctors. Some people are not designed to be doctors. They are designed to be engineers. They should be engineers. So be careful in your comprehension of these things. So when you say not attached to action, what does it mean? It means that at the moment, a certain action has to be performed. You alone are there. So you will need to do it to the best of your ability. That particular action, whether you like it or not. It is not referring to a lifestyle. Okay, somebody is not well. Now, whether you're a doctor or not a doctor, the person who is next to that person is this one. So you have to do whatever you can under the circumstances. If you can call up a doctor, do so. Whatever you can do, do. Don't worry about I am this and I am that and what. Okay, is that clear? The distinction? Clear?
Yes.
Yes. I hope it's clear. I don't see enough faces. Why don't more of you put on your videos so that at least I feel like I have somebody to talk to.
Hanji, yes, understand.
Okay, so okay, is it clear? I hope the distinction. Do not misunderstand it, because otherwise you'll see all this. My father wants me to be a doctor, but I must be a doctor because my father says so. No, you can't be a doctor because your father says. You have to be a doctor because this equipment is suitable for that. If it is suitable, do it. If it is not suitable, don't do it. But that is very different from somebody having a heart attack next to you. You can't say, I'm not a doctor, I will do nothing, I'm getting too frightened. No, you have to. You're the only person there. Okay, so please understand what is attachment to action and what is not. Otherwise, we misunderstand these things pretty badly, and then that's where they create all this confusion. Religion tells you that you must follow the instructions of your parents. They are like God. They are like God. You give them gratitude, but please don't take up wrong action because of anybody suggesting you wrong action. Don't take it up. It could be your parents, it could be your teacher, it could be God himself. Don't do it. Because your job in life is to identify and execute right action. Many people will tell you many things. You will do what according to you is right. So be careful in the comprehension. Otherwise, under the name of religiosity, we just end up messing up things even further. Then what is his next? What are the other qualities? He possesses dhriti and utsaha. Dhriti is what you need to complete an action. You may have a right comprehension of what is to be done. You may start tomorrow morning, getting up in the morning and studying. But dhriti means I'm going to continue this. एक बार करने से कुछ नहीं होता. If anything has to be achieved, it has to be achieved over long-term application. Not एक दिन किया, 2 दिन किया, 2 महीने किया, 2 साल किया, 20 साल किया. You go on and on and on. That's why Vedantins deep log hote hain. But nobody can move them from the track that they have set. If they have set a track, they are going through with it. So the quality of sattva, that doesn't matter what comes, you will go on. You go on like that. You know, there's a movie, Terminator, I think. Terminator. They keep breaking him. His body parts are all breaking. That's the movie, right? And then and he still continues on his mission. That's a Sattvic actor. Only that one. Don't see anything else. No matter what happens to him, he continues with it. Why does he continue with it?
Job is not done. Job is not done.
The job is not done is one thing.
Higher goal.
That's what is required to be done.
Remember, he started the job in. Yeah. Kalyan, you were going to say something?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Remember why he started it. He started it in the first place, having conceived it and decided that this was the most important thing for him to do. Those are the grounds on which he started. So now he has no option. If he has decided this is the most important, most valuable, most helpful thing to be done, he will do it. He'll do it till his dying day. He's not going to change his mind on that. Not going to change his mind when it's not fanatical. He could change his mind. But if according to him, that is the most important thing to be done, then he will go through with it till the end. Ya to jeetenge, ya to marenge. One of these two things will happen because till the end he's going to work with it. He has that dhritti because he had that application before he started. He didn't just, ek din utkat bole, this is a good thing, ye karte hain. Not like that. Just thought it through, decided this is the most effective or most valuable or the most sensible thing for him to do or her to do, and then they go all up. And then they are most enthusiastic about it. This enthusiasm is a very interesting characteristic. In the Rajasic people, Rajasic people are also very enthusiastic. And they want to start a party or start a business or whatever they are doing. They're very enthusiastic, not like Tamasic. Tamasic people, anytime you tell them anything, you say, wo kyun kare? Usme koi fayda hai kya? Talk to them only and all your enthusiasm will go away. They start with one negative. They will start everything with negative. No, you don't really need to do. We really have to go say, come, let's go for a Rajasic. Come, let's go for a movie. Really, we have to go to the movie. Tickets milenge kya? और वहां तक पहुंचेंगे कैसे? और रियली कुछ होगा क्या? कोई आएगा क्या? बाबा तुम छोड़ो, तुम घर में ही बैठो. Okay, so they are very depressing, Tamasic people. Rajasic people are full of enthusiasm. चलो पार्टी करते हैं, चलो मूवी जाते हैं, चलो ये करते हैं, चलो वो करते हैं. They are very enthusiastic. They are enthusiastic up to
Till they reach failure.
Favorable.
Till they reach
Failure.
Actually, till even they reach the first obstacle. The moment they reach an obstacle, then their enthusiasm starts flailing away. First obstacle, so, but ab ye ho gaya. It starts reducing. And failure means the complete stoppage. This is the nature of Rajas. Their enthusiasm is derived from success. If people encourage them, if they become successful, if everyone says, oh, kitna acha kiya, then they get quite enthusiastic. They get very enthusiastic and they start working hard. But it is all dependent on all these external factors. Somebody has encouraged them. Some people can get very discouraged because people don't encourage them. I know this lady, she wanted to do her B.Ed and nobody in her family supported her. So then she said, nobody is supporting me. And then she gave up. It's the typical nature of Rajasic action. That others are not supporting me, so I will give up. Sattva doesn't give up. Sattva is like that Terminator. What is it? There's a song, no, like that in Hindi. रुकने का तू नाम न लेना, चलना तेरा काम, चल मेरे घोड़े टिक टिक टिक. That's Sattva. चलो भैया चलो, चलते हैं, कहीं ना कहीं तो पहुंच ही जाएंगे ना. Pura, if we don't climb the whole mountain, something we will do. Now we have this great aim. Let's build the Vedanta University. By the way, the gossip is that yesterday we had the hearing for it. And he said he'll pass the order. If he passes the order, then we will have our registration certificate on Monday. If he passes the order. Nahi to kya? If he doesn't, then ठीक है, हम भी करते ही रहेंगे. But now you started this. Imagine university, अभी तक registration of institution नहीं है. University कौन से दिन आएगा? पता नहीं. But चलो करते तो है, कहीं ना कहीं तो पहुंच ही जाएंगे. If we can't reach the end, then we will have at least created a path for others to do it. But we can go on. What's to stop us? You have no encouragement from anybody, no resources, no nothing, but you have one thing. What is that one thing?
Your higher
Enthusiasm.
Determination.
All that is consequence. You have one thing. Which is that one thing?
Goal.
Continue doing your action.
Sorry?
Continue doing your action.
Continue action.
Dhriti?
What did you say, Tejal?
You have zeal to do it. Enthusiasm, zeal to do it.
Amarendra?
Yeah, ma'am.
I said Dhriti, I was still Dhriti, madam. Till we reach.
This is what you're saying. This is all consequence. It's consequence of what?
Your higher goal.
It is the belief that this is the best service that one could do. When your goal is backed with that, this is the best that I could possibly conceive doing. If you have that, then who's going to stop you? Because what is it that you're going to do instead? You've already decided that this is the highest and best service I can do. If you believe that, then you will continue because you can't see anything better to do. Do you want to do nothing? No, I'd like to do something. Now, what do you want to do? Think, what's the best service you can do for the highest cause? And if your answer is, whatever your answer is, why would you stop doing it till you're dead? You have no better alternative according to you. That gives you the enthusiasm. You're doing what according to you is the best possible that you can do. And if that is the best possible you can do, then why would you do anything else? That's your dhriti and your sta, your consistency and your enthusiasm. Now people may support, people may discourage, people will say, kya kar rahe ho? Kyun time waste kar rahe ho? Will it matter to you? No, because you already thought it through. You know that either you will achieve that end or you will have at least created the path for somebody else to achieve that end. So either way, it's okay. What is that? Tobe dakshe tore na tobe ekla chalo re. Do what you can. And if everybody does what they can, then hey, we'll have a great world, isn't it? So that enthusiasm that comes, this dhriti and enthusiasm comes from what happened? Don't say goal, that's very boring. Say properly. You're right, of course you're right, but say it properly. It comes from
higher ideal.
Yes, you're correct.
The belief that that's the best thing for you to do.
From the belief, it's coming from a belief that this is the most valuable thing I could do. If you think like that, can you think of those Jawans on the battlefield? Okay? Why are they running into the battlefield to fight that war for us? We are safe in our homes, but at the borders, the Jawans are fighting. Why are they fighting? Why are they willing to give up what to every being is the most important thing? What is the most important thing to every being?
Life.
Life. The basic survival instinct, life, is the most important thing to any being. Why are they willing to give it up? Because they believe this is not valuable thing that they can do. Why are we cowards? Why can't we do it? Because we can't conceive that value. We can't do it, right? We can't throw ourselves into a situation where our survival is, we can't conceive. Those who can, we revere them. And why do we revere them? Because they have that capacity to conceive and execute whatever according to them is the most valuable thing we can do. So it is not that you practice Triti and you practice Utsaha. It comes from being the Sattvic actor. So what is the Sattvic actor? Remember, first quality he has is?
No ego.
No ego.
No ego. No ego means he doesn't. I'm trying to change that language. You're right, no ego. I'm trying to change the language because now ego has, it has all sorts of connotations that the text does not actually have. Oh, you should not be egoistical. I mean, you should not be egoistical.
Not attached to the action.
So that was rhetorical, Varsha. It means that this is not about you. That's your first thing. Because you will never be able to find something valuable enough if it is about you. If your attention is entirely upon yourself, and I ask you this question, what is the most valuable thing you could do? You will have no answer to that question. You don't know. You say, I don't know. What is the most valuable thing I can do? Because in actual fact, this body, mind, intellect is not the most valuable thing. But when we associate with it, we think this is the most valuable thing. And that's where all our problems get generated. But when we can conceive something more, something greater, something higher, and we can understand the value of that higher thing, then it's not about us anymore. And that is character, that is sattva, that is whatever nice word you want to use. So first thing is, it's not about me. Second thing is, it's not about what I like to do or what I don't like to do. Means I'm not attached to doing anything in particular, and I'm not irritated at doing something. I'll do whatever it is that needs to be done. Then, if you are functioning like that, then you have the Triti and the Utsaha. What is the Vritti and Utsaha? It is not influenced by what is going on around it. You will keep going. Isn't it? If you understand the value of what you're doing, you will keep doing it. If you don't understand the value of what you're doing, then the first person who says you, oh, this is not a good idea, you will stop doing it. All achievers have worked out what according to them is the important thing to do and done it. Now everybody else saying whatever in the world they want to say is making no difference. It's not that they're not listening. It's not that they are fanatic. They won't listen to why you think it can't be done. But they will certainly listen to any good ideas that will help them achieve it fast. Okay, clear about Sattvic actor? Okay, Rajasic actor. Who will read Rajasic actor?
Shall I read?
A question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So once I was planning to paint, and it was a monochrome painting, which everybody told me that it will not look good. It's a huge one, and how can you paint it in one color? But I said, no, I think I'll go ahead and do it. So does that make me Sattva or Rajas?
We can't tell based on this data. This is insufficient data to answer that question. But if you want to make a painting and it's whatever size you want to, why should anyone else have a view at all? Once you made the painting and it won't look good where? On a particular wall possible. Maybe it'll look good somewhere else. And it's not enough to answer. The question is, did you do it? Did you take it through to the end? Did you find good use? I mean, good use means you knew where to put it up and it looked fine, it was good. Then yes, that aspect was happening. But if you gave up because you said, oh, everybody's saying all that.
No, I didn't give up and I actually went ahead and made it, and it actually turned out pretty well.
So that aspect is Sattvic, because you as an artist, assumably, can see better than other people. Why are people, it's so stupid to listen to non-artists about art. It makes no sense. What the artist should have the final say, right? So in that area, so from that you should learn that in other areas, they should have the final say. Now, just because in this area you were right, doesn't mean now in, I don't know, if your husband is doing carpentry, then you can tell him, you know.
No, I agree.
So yes, that aspect of going through to the end, seeing it through to the end is Sattvic. Okay, Tinky, you wanna read?
Yes, Janaki ji. A Rajasic actor is ever impassioned. His desires are insatiable. He craves for the fruits of his actions. He develops greed for acquisition, possession, and enjoyment. And when he meets with opposition in the pursuit of his desires, he is hurtful to those opposing them. He would also adopt unscrupulous ways and means to gain his personal ends. He is constantly buffeted by the joys and sorrows that arise from his selfish behavior. Consequently, his mind remains agitated with worry and anxiety, stress and strain in life. So the Rajasic actor is driven by the mind's desires, which are never satisfied. He's also attached to the fruits. So he wants to acquire, possess, enjoy, and anyone who comes in the way of this, he will become hurtful towards them. And to meet his desires and ends, he will do anything, even if it means breaking laws or being unethical, and is always affected by the joys and sorrows. So that's why the mind is always agitated.
Yes. So correct. So firstly, he is ever impassioned. Means is always passionate about something. We start always with great enthusiasm. Rajasic people are always with great enthusiasm. They start everything. They are always enthusiastic. Chalo ye karte hain, chalo wo karte hain. They are always impassioned about it, which is good. He's impassioned. But the deal is, that part is okay, that he's starting with so much enthusiasm. But two things is where he goes wrong. One is he doesn't apply himself to whether you should do that action in the first place. He's just very enthusiastic, chalo karte hain, which is good. There is no harm in that. But at least some amount of thought should be given, should it be done? Now, here is an interesting thing actually, that we live so much between tamas and rajas and so little in sattva, that very often when Rajasic people start even asking the question, should I do it? They recede into tamas. They don't do it. This is a very interesting psychology, that either they have to be pushed into the action by that initial passion for it, that initial interest, or they don't do it. The moment they ask the question, should I? It falls back into tamas. So in many cases, they say, okay, now that you're Enthu, just do it. Don't even stop to ask that question. Because going into tamas is definitely worse than being in sattva. I don't know if you've noticed this. There's a certain amount of research on this thing, which is the strange phenomenon when you're enthusiastic and somebody puts a question. You yourself say, should I? And then you freeze into inactivity. So the only thing that drives that Rajasic person is that initial interest. So if that's true for you, then please allow that interest to drive you. Otherwise, it will stop you from the, otherwise recede into tamas. But hopefully we will come to a position one day where we can think carefully and then decide. So he is passionate, which is okay, but he is incapable of thinking before it, which is not so good. And secondly, he does it also longing so much for something. This is the saddest thing about sattva. There is so much longing that my action will get me this thing. It's a very sad thing. And it's so sad because, okay, you tell me, why is it so sad?
Focus lost.
Okay, why is it sad?
Because the end becomes more important than the means.
Okay, why is it so sad?
Because
What's so
it's
sad
wasted
about it?
energy.
Okay.
Because
that is what is
opportunity lost for converting into Sattvic action.
Okay, you could say that.
Because that want is what is actually driving you towards the goal, and sadly that is the one which is also stopping you. So it's like kind of, unless you use your intellect and differentiate between wanting it too badly versus wanting it enough to get there, it will stop you.
Okay, that's a sad. What's sad? Tell me what else is sad.
It is also his attachment and expectation from the he's expecting a result kind of a thing that people
What
will.
is so sad about it? What's the sad? What's the tragedy in it?
No enjoyment.
The action won't be perfect because the focus is on the acquisition or reaching the goal.
Okay, but like, what is the sad part of it?
Even if the person gets the goal, he won't be happy.
Yes, remember, if you heard from the beginning, what were we talking about? That you've not identified the cause of the problem. You are seeking something with the hope of getting happiness, but वो नहीं होने वाला है. So the journey is very unhappy because you're craving through the journey. And then the goal also, so mila hi nahi fit. That's the tragedy. You're looking in the wrong direction. That is the nature of the Rajasic, looking in the wrong direction. That's the sad part. That's why they feel Rajasic people at the end of their lives or at the end of a thing, they feel very disillusioned. They feel like, kya kiya aur kya hua, or, it's all disillusion. They go into depression sometimes. It's disillusion with it. Not realizing that you're just sorted in the wrong direction and seek it in the right direction. Apne paas hi hai. The tragedy is you crave so much for it. You want it so much. But at the end of it, you're going to get nothing in your hand. The journey is miserable. You're very stressed. And at the end also, hath to kuch lagna hai nahi yahan. Now, don't be like depressed and say, oh, he'll meet with failure. It need not mean that he meets with failure. This is when he meets with success, what will happen. When he meets with success, this is what happens. We're not talking about failure. When he meets with failure, what happens? We will do next time. So this is some beginning of the Rajasic actor. We will continue it next time. Now, important things that I have to tell you all is that we're doing a course in basic Vedanta so that all the basic foundational concepts are clear to everyone. And that will be on Friday, 7 to 8. Sooner, lots of people have joined like randomly in the middle of these classes. And so a need was felt to get some basics clear. So that course will be announced. I'm assuming you all are all on the WhatsApp group. So it will be announced maybe in 2-3 weeks we may start. So just wanted to tell you about that. And that's it for today. Hari Om.
Thank you, Janki.
Thank you, Janki.
Hari Om,
Hari Om,
Janki.
Janki.
Thank you.
Hari Om,
Thank you, Janki ji.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om.
Thank you, Janki.
Thank you,
Hari
Janki ji.
Om. Hari Om.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hari Om.